All right, let's dive right into this explainer. We're dissecting two seriously chilling Hindi horror narratives today, Chakvava and Tabooth in one, to see exactly what happens when modern arrogance crashes headfirst into ancient folklore. I absolutely love digging into stories like these because, honestly, they aren't just about cheap jump scares. They are absolute masterclasses in building tension and atmosphere. So today, we're going to break down the specific architecture of this dread. Let's get into it.
You city kids will think this is superstition, but a darkness has awoken here. Man, that quote perfectly captures the vibe of both these tales. To really get how these narratives build such pure, suffocating dread, we gotta look at the central conflict driving them. It's the warnings of the old world being completely, almost comically, ignored by the logic of the new world. In rural India, local myths aren't treated as fairy tales around a campfire. They're literal survival guides. But what happens when people armed with modern education and city confidence step into the dark, completely disregarding the rules of the land? Section 1. Modern Lives, Ancient Nightmares. Let's meet the protagonists who literally embody this modern hubris. We've got a really stark contrast going on here. On one side, we have our champions of city logic. In our first source, we've got Akash. He's riding his heavy-duty bullet motorcycle on a pouring rain night, all the way from Pune to Konkan. He genuinely thinks the high beam of his motorcycle's headlight is enough to conquer the legendary pitch-black darkness of the Kashedi Ghat. Then, in our second story, we have Meghna and Ashita. They are scientists from a lab in Delhi. They're traveling to the ancient, incredibly isolated village of Berhampur, not out of respect for its history, but to extract and test an ancient nectar for their research. Both sets of characters are just stepping right into centuries of isolation, vastly underestimating the terrifying environments they are walking into. And naturally, that kind of overconfidence triggers a direct response. Section 2. Warnings from the old world. Let's find out exactly what rules they were told to follow. Here's the thing, our protagonists are never caught completely off guard. They are explicitly warned. Akash is literally told by this old weathered tea vendor that driving the Kashedi Ghat after 2 a.m. in the monsoon fog is gonna bring something way worse than regular traffic accidents. Meanwhile, over in Berhampur, a young local boy named Madan gets a very strict warning from his father about Saturday nights. He is told that under no circumstances should he be out wandering the forest, because that is when 4 entities roam the village. You see, these aren't vague, spooky stories. They are specific, actionable warnings that our modern skeptics just choose to completely brush off. To really wrap our heads around the danger here, we have to understand the specific legends anchoring these stories. Section 3. The Lore of Chakva and Tabut. So in our first tale, that tea vendor specifically warns Akash and his completely terrified friend Pankaj about the Chalakva. Now, this isn't your standard ghost that just chases you. It's a terrifying supernatural illusion that traps you. It basically preys on weary travelers up in the foggy mountains, entirely warping reality so that a perfectly straight road becomes an inescapable maze. Victims are basically doomed to just drive in endless circles until their fuel runs out or their sanity does. Meanwhile, the Delhi scientists are hunting down something incredibly specific, the Mrityunjay Amrit. This is supposed to be this legendary green nectar that grants immortality. Local lore says it drips from a very specific forest tree, but only on the night of a full moon. Now, Meghna has actually been seeing this exact tree dripping with green liquid in her nightmares. That is a textbook supernatural calling card, right? Yet she frames the whole thing purely as a biological discovery, just waiting to be exploited back in her lab. And this perfectly illustrates what happens when you disturb ancient secrets. The danger guarding the mysteries in Berhampur is known as the Nashir Molo. Picture this. 4 men with glowing red eyes carrying a coffin or tabut through the dark. There's a really strict protocol for survival here. If you hear their rhythmic chanting, bum bum bosh, you hide immediately in the brush. You do not look at them under any circumstances, and you wait in absolute dead silence until they pass. Breaking these rules guarantees your doom. Just ask the poor local boy Madan. His curiosity made him peek from the bushes, and it sealed his horrifying fate. But of course, despite all that rich lore and those crystal clear warnings, our skeptics just march right over the threshold. Section 4, Descending into the Trap, where we get a masterful, slow burn escalation of dread. In Chakva, the way time and space start to warp is just masterful. They leave Pune at 11 p.m., feeling totally invincible. Fast forward to 2:30 a.m., they're deep in the gods, and fatigue is hitting them like a ton of bricks.
And I love how grounded the writing is right here. To stay awake, Akash and Pankaj just start gossiping about trivial stuff, like Pankaj's demanding ex-girlfriend Riya. They're so wrapped up in their modern, mundane problems, they are completely oblivious that the supernatural trap has already closed around them. Then, at 3 a.m., the chilling math finally clicks. They realize they've been driving a 15-minute mountain pass for 2 straight hours.
And then, the absolute chilling realization hits. Pankaj suddenly starts screaming for Akash to stop the bike. Why? Because peering through that thick, nasty mountain fog, they spot the exact same broken banyan tree with a red cloth tied to it that they had passed half an hour ago. Despite driving at highway speeds on a supposedly straight road, they haven't moved forward an inch. The Chakwa has them securely in its loop, and those powerful motorcycle headlights, they did absolutely nothing to save them.
At the exact same time, in our second tale, the hubris is going completely off the charts. Meghna and Ishita sneak out of their host's house at exactly midnight. They actually enlist the village chief's son, Anuj, to help them go explore this massive 400-year-old palace. But as they're sneaking through the ancient village, this unnatural, violent storm suddenly whips up out of nowhere. Anuj even jokes that the city girls brought city pollution into the village with this aggressive wind. But we know it's not pollution. It's the ancient environment aggressively reacting to their modern intrusion.
Which brings us right to the climax of this explainer, Section 5, Face to Face with Fear. This is where reality just shatters entirely. Up in those Kashidi Ghat mountains, modern technology just gives up completely. Akash's trusty bullet engine dies out of nowhere and totally refuses to kickstart. Now plunged into absolute darkness, they decide they have to walk, using only the pathetic, weak flashlights from their cell phones. And as they take a step forward, the literal fabric of their reality dissolves. The smooth, paved road beneath their feet, it just vanishes. It is immediately replaced by wild, dense, thorny bushes. They aren't all a highway anymore. They have been dropped into the dead center of a hostile, inescapable wilderness. They're desperately waving their cell phone lights around the thorny brush, and that is when they uncover the true face of the Chakwa. They spot this old woman squatting in the wet mud. Her hair is stark white, but what absolutely paralyzes them are her eyes. They're glowing in the dark exactly like a cat's, and she has this unhinged, impossibly wide, inhuman smile just plastered across her face. Confronted with an entity that completely defies all biological and logical sense, Akash and Pankaj brains just short-circuit. They instantly pass out from pure, unfiltered terror. Meanwhile, back in Barampur, their terrifying climax is hitting too. As the scientists are wandering around the dark halls of that palace, triggering these heavy, echoing footsteps all around them, the storm outside is raging. The chanting Nirasharmola march right through the village and end up cornering 2 local gamblers who made the mistake of staying out too late. As these red-eyed entities come to a halt, the heavy wooden coffin on their shoulders slowly creaks open. A blood-curdling scream echoes out from inside the coffin, shaking the entire village. The horrors of the old world have fully awakened. When we look at the aftermath of both these tales, it proves one absolutely undeniable thing. The folklore was 100% right, and modern logic totally failed them. Pankaj is left permanently traumatized and severely ill, completely losing his cheerful personality to the Ghat. Akash, our overconfident writer, he vows to literally never ride a motorcycle at night again. And as for our scientists, Meghna and Ishita, well, they're left trapped inside a dark, 400-year-old palace, face to face with an ancient evil they arrogantly thought they could just bottle up in a test tube. These stories just do such a beautiful job showing how Indian horror relies on that specific tension between our modern confidence and the ancient, untamed mysteries of the land. So, wrapping up this explainer, I want to leave you with a chilling thought to chew on. When the engine dies, the fog rolls in, and all your modern logic completely fails you in the dark, what are you going to rely on? Your headlights or the old stories? Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and remember,